Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rocky Sports Talk Sheet. Uh, I was wrong. I'm going to start off by saying I was wrong. Uh, the Clippers knocked off the Jazz last night in a absolute second half whopping after being down 20 plus points to the Utah Jazz second half or first half and very beginning of the third quarter. What happened next was a pure collapse by the Utah Jazz. And as we know in today's NBA, a filthy, crazy hot streak from 3 point land by the Los Angeles Clippers, led by Terrence Mann. I'll tell you what, it was not Paul George that led the Clippers in this Game 6 series clincher. Was Terrence Mann, and what he did in that second half was straight up magnificent. The Clippers played magnificent. You couldn't play a more perfect half of basketball, and it's it was almost like the Jazz conceded towards in the fourth quarter. It just kind of felt that way. It looked that way. Why Rudy Gobert was still in and why they didn't go to a different lineup? They could have brung in Clarkson. They could have brung in different ways, a different lineup to match what the Clippers were doing, especially whenever they cut it, down to five. I would have definitely the moment that got chipped away in the third quarter all the way to five, you needed to make an adjustment. And even before then, whenever it got down to 10, an adjustment needed to be made, and the Jazz just didn't do it. I understand Rudy Gobert is, basically the defensive. It feels like he's been the defensive player of the year for like the last freaking 5 6 years. But I mean, I understand defensively, but what is he giving you offensively? And that second half, he was bad defensively. I just don't understand why they didn't change the lineups. The Utah Jazz didn't because they flat out choked. They choked last night. This should have been a Game 7 series, but hats off to the Clippers. Basically, the second half, it was 4-on-5 basketball because Rudy Gobert, he can't run around that 3 point line. So, I mean, you had five shooters for the Clippers, and they always found the one of them open. It was like so many of these were open. I'm not talking like they were contested. These were open, as good an open looks as you're going to find in the NBA. Seriously. What the Jazz were doing, I don't understand. I don't understand where there wasn't, you know, a lineup change. I just, it just wasn't happening. And Conley didn't play good either, in my opinion. I mean, he didn't. The look on Donovan Mitchell, man, sitting to come back in that second half after they stormed all the way back, just said it all. Like the expression on his face was, "Oh boy, oh what's going on?" Like he had no clue what he was witnessing, and neither did over half of the sports fans that were tuning in or watching this thing. Like I said, a complete and utter collapse in yesterday's game. This is also marks the first time that the Los Angeles Clippers have advanced to the Western Conference Finals, where they await the Phoenix Suns. Uh, like I said, it's the first time in their 51-year history of the franchise, and they won the last two games without Kawhi. And honestly, I don't know. This could be another topic for a different day, but depending on how this season ends with the Clippers and how they do the rest of the way in these playoffs, I I maybe the best thing it could be the best thing for them. Honestly, I know it sounds bad because Kawhi is a top five player in the league. I get it, but sometimes whenever you have stars like Paul George and Kawhi, sometimes stars just don't mesh together playing together on the same team. And I feel that it Paul George, in my opinion, plays better when Kawhi doesn't play. I don't know why that is, but I really do feel and notice that it he plays better and more free without Kawhi out there. Maybe they need to look at something this offseason, but I just man, I don't know what happened between Patrick Beverly knowing threes, Terrence Mann, Reggie Jackson, even Paul George. I just it was a complete and utter second round beatdown. Like game six was a beatdown in that whole second half. They beat up the Jazz. Like put it on them. They had I believe 81 points in the second half. And whenever they went on the run, it was a 75-40 run. Let me repeat that. A 75-40 run. And in the open, like 30, the first 30 seconds of the second half, they fall behind by 25, did the Clippers. They were behind by 25 points. And by the end of the third quarter, basically took the lead. They had the lead. So in the third quarter alone, they just stormed all the way back. And the Jazz never adjusted. The Jazz lost game six due to their own coaching staff not making the proper adjustments when obviously it was obvious. Let me tell everybody, blatantly obvious that Rudy Gobert needed to come out and they needed to go, they needed to go smaller and they needed to go quicker and faster to deal because I'm going to say this, the Clippers, it wasn't just they got open threes. They had amazing, amazing ball movement the whole second half. The ball movement to get these open shots was just spectacular. Probably one of the best ball movements for a half I've seen in a very long time in the NBA. It was that good. And whenever it's going like that, especially all around the three line, sometimes, especially whenever Rudy Gobert really, even at times, like they took it inside and Gobert, he just couldn't even make it in time to even contest or block the shot. Like, I don't understand. I just don't get it. When a team's playing like that, you got to go smaller and you got to be quicker. And then I think this goes down to the probably, I mean, They already went on this run before they could have made this adjustment. I think this would have went down to the wire still, but the Jazz wouldn't have lost by 12. They lost 131 to 119. And like I said, the Clippers win the series 4-2 after being down 0-2. They storm back and win 4 straight. I really thought this was going game 7. Like I said, I was wrong. Should have been right. But Jazz and the coaching staff, the blame is on you. The blame is on you. I can't really blame Rudy Gobert because whenever they're doing the ball movement they were doing along that 3 line, that dude ain't fast enough to run around that 3 line like that. He ain't like that. I'm not blaming him. I'm blaming the coach not taking his ass out. Like, it baffles me, but it is what it is. Let me know in the comments, in the live chat right here. Do you all agree that they should have took out Rudy Gobert and went smaller to combat the amazing ball movement of the Clippers in that second half, around the 3 line and everywhere, to kind of keep up defensively? Because I feel like if they would have swapped out Rudy Gobert, they could have had a lot more contested. They could have been able to contest a lot more on a handful of those threes, and this probably would have turned into a completely different outcome, maybe, and it's completely different in a very, very tight knit game down the stretch. But nonetheless, hats off to you, Clippers. Clippers are in the Western Conference Finals. They await the Phoenix Suns. I'm trying to figure out. I'm awaiting what happens with CP3. Does he play game 1 or game 2? Like, when does he come back in this series? Because don't think the Clippers can't beat the Suns, because they beat them 2 out of 3 times in the regular season. So the Clippers have shown they can beat the Suns. So I don't know. That I believe this. It's not much difference. It's kind of like the same kind of rotation there that the Jazz has, the Sun have. You know, they got the big man Ayton down there. He's not a bad defender either. He's not a bad player down there. But the only difference is, unlike Rudy Gobert, you know, Ayton can give you 20 plus points, 20 plus points. He can also score. Rudy Gobert is not an offensive threat, more the defense. That's the only difference with Andre Ayton there. But I don't understand what the Jazz did last night in that second half. And if I was the Jazz owner, I would be talking to that coaching staff after that, after being eliminated, and being like, I need to know what you were thinking and why there was no switch and this or that. Because watching it, it was obvious, and I'm not even a head coach. Just saying. When teams catch fire, you got to adjust. And the Jazz just didn't. So the Clippers win. That's flat out what happened. That is what happened. And whenever you don't adjust, you deserve to get that 75 to 40 run put up on you. When you were up 25 and then you allow a 35 differential run put up on your head. It's kind of crazy. I mean, you guys basically held them to I think 45, somewhere between 43, 45 points in the whole second half the Jazz had, and instead you allow the Clippers to put up over 80 on you in the half. So, hey, like I said, good job, Clippers. I I'm still be beyond questioning the Jazz's coaching staff there, and especially that third quarter. What the fuck were they thinking? What was going through their minds? Because it was obvious. It was that obvious. And I feel for Rudy Gobert. He tried to contest what he could contest and what he could get to, but he was just not fast enough. That's just all there is to it. He was not fast enough to get there to contest a whole bunch of the shit Clippers were throwing at him. I mean, how much simpler do you have to get? They basically, the Clippers, obviously, especially in that third quarter, went around, made sure they went away from Gobert offensively. And the rest of the Jazz defenders, they was like, let's make them stop us and take Gobert out of the question defensively and climb back in this. And like I said, how the Jazz coaching staff did not see that and did not realize that's what was going on. And credit to Ty Lue, he was not messing around either. He made the right call as well. And dude, y'all just got schooled straight up by Terrence Mann. Man, Terrence. The Jazz, y'all just Mann was the man last night. I repeat, Mann was the man last night. Now, in other news, the Sixers forced a game 7 with the Hawks. I did at least get that one right. Said it would be a tight game, very tight game, and they pulled out a 5 point win on the Hawks, 104-99. So Embiid, you know, hey, Sixers versus Hawks, game 7. Let's see, but I'll take the Sixers in a tight win. But like I said, they're not they're not going past the Eastern Conference Finals. But whoever wins that series is not advancing out of the East. That's just my opinion. It's not going to happen. But kudos to Embiid and the 76ers for winning Game 6. Game 7, probably going to be another good game. Very close game, I would say. And there you go. Also, another news, Kemba Walker. Let's get on Kemba Walker. Now, somebody got on yesterday, and at first I didn't see it. I did see what he was talking about. The Celtics did trade away Kemba Walker yesterday. So, in yesterday's video, that is on me because I didn't understand. In his message on the live chat, it kind of didn't explain it. But anyways, he got traded. Kemba Walker got traded basically for Al Horford and Moses Brown and a 2023 second round pick. The Celtics, as I said, they sent Kemba Walker to OKC, as well as the number 16 first round pick this year and a 2025 second round pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder. So the Oklahoma City Thunder for the past couple of seasons has been acquiring a lot of draft picks, and they're beginning they're doing the rebuild. Now you got Shea Alexander and Kimball Walker, to build around. That's not a bad squad, and with all these draft picks, they could potentially be, build a team in the next couple few seasons. Kind of like what the Sixers did. It took them time, but they built through the draft, and they've had a very formidable, top three team for years now in the Eastern Conference. So maybe here in a couple few years we'll see OKC back up at the top of the Western Conference standings. I don't know. It's at least going to take 2 or 3 years, in my opinion, for that to happen. Um, that's just my opinion on that. Al Horford, I don't know. Um, Moses Brown, hey, the Brad Stevens has been around him, so maybe he knows something that other teams and other GMs and other coaches don't know. So they got several big men now. So we're just gonna kind of see what the Celtics do there. Al Horford, it's not that big of a deal to me. I think Al Horford probably going to have like a year next year, kind of remind. He's going to. Yeah, I kind of think he's going to be kind of like a Marcus Gasol, how he was with the Lakers this year. So I'm not accounting too much from Al Horford anymore. I'm just not. But hey, you know what? I'll give this trade. So I see the outcome. I give it a C. I'm going to keep it right in the even. I don't. I mean, for Al Horford and Brown and a second rounder, and you give up Kemba and a first. The first round, that I wouldn't. I don't feel Boston needed to do that, and I don't feel like they had to do that. Yeah, because they threw in maybe a couple of second rounders in that trade. Yes, I think that would have been more fair. Um, but as right now, I'd give it an overall C grade between the two teams. But I would give OKC. Now, OKC in this trade, for what you gave up and what you get in return, you get Kemba Walker. If he's healthy, he's a good player. He is a good player. Definitely an upgrade for Brown and Al Horford. And you get a first round pick. Obviously, I'm giving them a B because I feel like as of right now, they definitely won because they got not only Kemba Walker, but they got a first round pick to go with the deal and a 25 second rounder. It's, man, like I said, even though it's a 16th pick, you never know. You never know. Superstars and all time Hall of Famers have fallen down to that number many a times in the history of the NBA and of the league. So they could end up with another really good player and flat out come out of this with the A plus. So it kind of depends on who they get with the pick and how healthy and how Kemba Walker comes back from his injury. It's just one of those. It's just one of those things. Now, I will say today, Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals between uh, the Nets and the Bucks. Kyrie is a no go. Kyrie Irving is and has been ruled out for tonight's game at 8:30. I don't know if Harden's going or how good he's even remotely going to be. So they're going to need some magic because KD brought him back in the series in Game 5, but Game 6 they got stomped. So better hope Harden looks a little bit better. And you know, maybe kind of count on. Hopefully, Green can give you another 20 plus point performance to go with KD. And I don't know. This is going to be a tight game. I will take. I will take the Nets. I, I still will take them. All I think you need Harden to do is at least try to give you 15. Try to give you 15, maybe like 7, 8 assists or something like that. Not play great, but play solid. KD's gonna KD's gonna have to be KD. I mean, KD has to be KD until either a healthy Harden gets back on that court or a healthy Kyrie Irving. Like there's good players on the Nets that can't step up. Don't There's several players that can any given night can give you 20 plus. So I'm taking the Nets by 6. I will say 120 to 114 over the Bucks. Like I said, I don't think Middleton has a big game. He ain't having a big game like he did. He may put up 20, 25 points. He ain't hitting 30 again. Nope. And Giannis, I think he has a solid, good game. But I just think the Nets are gonna edge him out. So that's my take on today's Game 7 between the Nets and the Bucks. I don't trust Middleton. I don't know what it is. Yeah, whoa, boy, amazing Game 6 from you, dude. But too many times have I seen you. Just like people get on to Paul George, they can get on to Chris Middleton. Because as good as he is with Giannis in the regular season, he's not. He disappears way too often in the postseason as well. Like he disappears, and I think tonight it's gonna be. He's gonna. I don't think he's exactly gonna disappear, but it's almost gonna be like at the end of the game, you're gonna be like, he really scored that much. Like you ain't gonna notice it. It's good. It's gonna go unnoticed. It's That's just my opinion. I think he disappears, and I think the Nets take advantage of it. I also think Joe Harris has a big game. That's why I'm taking the Nets. I think Joe Harris steps up. I think he'll get close to 20, along with KD. I think he'll get around 30. Harden, I think he'll give him at least 15 points. Green might get between 15 and 20. And, I think the bench plays solid. I think there's going to be, a few players on the next bench that play solid, good minutes, and I think they're going to squeeze out a tight win. So that's my takers. That's who I got. I'm gonna stick with that. Also, we have like I said, I'm trying to look up here right now. I'm trying to see about Chris. I Chris Paul, like the Western Conference Finals. It's hard to call right now. I would give my opinion, but obviously with him being in the protocol, that changes everything about the series. You know, they actually thought that they could have had like another 2 extra days because it really did look like the Jazz were going to win that game, and they may have had to play Tuesday or something like that next week. Instead, they're playing Sunday, game one. But that 2 extra days really would have helped CP3 and the Suns. But now I just don't know. It's really tough to call. I think that series now goes in the 7 games probably. I think the Suns and the Clippers is going to be a 7 game series now. And basically, it's not Chris Paul's fault, but I think it's because Chris Paul may miss game one, game two. Therefore, making this a 7 game series. If Chris Paul's there game one, I'll probably take the Suns. But with no Chris Paul, I don't know. It becomes a literal toss up to who wins the series now. Like it definitely wavers my decision on who to pick. I'm probably going to wait to pick the series winner by game three because I'm going to wait till CP3 gets updated to active and plays and starts. Till then, I'm leaving that series alone. I'm leaving that series alone because until he's on that court, it's the Clipper series to win, in my opinion. But it could totally change once CP3 gets on that court. So, yeah, there's y'all's NBA news and stuff. Let me know what y'all think about it so far. Let me know what y'all think about the series. Let me know who y'all got in Game 7 tonight between the Nets and the Bucks. Like I said, Kyrie Irving is not playing. He is out. So no Kyrie Irving in Game 7 for the Nets. So like I said, y'all can let me know who y'all got now that you know that Kyrie ain't playing. That is a huge blow. So, anyways, we still are waiting on, Aaron Rodgers. I'm still waiting on the other quarterback that everybody's looking to see where he goes. I'm still waiting to see, honestly, if Deshaun Watson is getting on the commissioner's exempt list. Because if Deshaun Watson gets on that commissioner's exempt list, I think he would be on it for the whole year. I don't think Deshaun Watson. I think this is going to settle. I mean, it's staying. This stuff is being eerily way too quiet with Deshaun Watson. Okay, I'm just being adamant with neither attorney really speaking out much. There's been no like updates. Do know that next year, I'm thinking like sometime in March or something like that is like the earliest time that they can get into court next year for all this. I just, some people ask me, hey, where do you think Deshaun Watson gets traded this year? I don't think he's getting traded. I think he's going to end up on the commissioner's exempt list for the year. I just don't see If there's no settlements at all through this football season, he ain't coming back because there's way too many people on there for it to be dismissed and thrown under the rug. I don't see 20 people saying, "Oh, we're going to drop it." I don't see that. So, I appreciate the questions about Deshaun Watson, but no, he's not getting traded this year. I don't see it happening. I see him being on the commissioner's exempt list. If you don't know what that is, or if you don't understand that in the NFL, you need to go look it up, kind of understand it. But basically, anything that's detrimental to the league and can hurt the league, the commissioner has the right to put you on that list. And especially as they do an investigation as well, as with a police department or anybody. They do their own investigation too. And if it's not decided or you know concluded, the commissioner, something very serious is what Deshaun Watson being accused of. He ain't taking a risk to hurt giving a multi-billion-dollar organization like the NFL a black eye. He will not do it for one player. No one player is bigger than the league. That's how the NFL operates, and rightfully so. That's any job too. No one person is bigger than the company. So I just don't see him coming back on the field unless there's a lot. Maybe the NFL sees a lot of evidence that just shows this is a farce, and then they could be like, "Well, we'll let you play." But still, I think some kind of suspension's coming. If it ain't a whole year or whatever, even if he gets back on the field, he's getting suspended. I mean, like I said in other videos in the past, Ezekiel Elliott never went to court, and the police department never filed charges. Neither did prosecutors or anything with the incident in Ohio with Ezekiel Elliott. And I'm a Cowboys fan, and I was furiously pissed as a Cowboys fan. And that man got smacked with, I believe it was 6 or 8 game suspension with nothing at all being proven against him. Just word of mouth, just a rumor out there. He basically got suspended 6 to 8 games off of rumor, pretty much. Pretty much. Because nobody else would even try him. Didn't even want to even press charges whatsoever. So if that can happen to Ezekiel Elliott and a star player in the NFL at that time, whenever it happened, probably the best back in the NFL, him and Todd Gurley, I would say were the two backs at that time when this happened, then you best believe with Deshaun Watson, what he's going through, yeah. You ain't seen him this year. So hopefully that answers the fan questions on that. Also, like I said, Aaron Rodgers, he's still not at camp. There's still back and forth between the GM front office. There's leaks out there from, I think, previous ex GMs and the current GM, and it from Aaron Rodgers. It's just that they're at a weird relationship. Yeah, you had James Jones. You had some other players come on there and say this is mendable, but then you hear comments from Aaron Rodgers to Packers front office throwing kind of quiet but out there darts at one another. So I still think a trade is happening, and I still believe to everybody that watches my channel and stuff, I still believe the team that will trade and get Aaron Rodgers is the team, and especially the person that leads this organization ain't scared to make a big trade for an older quarterback because he's done it in the past. And his name was Peyton Manning, and he got him to 2 Super Bowls, winning one. And that's Denver Broncos and John Elway. Don't think for a hot second John Elway won't pull the trigger on a trade for Aaron Rodgers. Because if he do it for Peyton, he would damn right, well, do it for Aaron Rodgers too. Because they're just about as the same talent-wise. So I'm telling you, I got a hard feeling that Aaron Rodgers at some point this year ends up in Denver. I think it would take at bare minimum 2 first rounders and several other like second, third. There's going to be a lot of picks, players if it's not 3 first rounds. But I'm thinking, I mean, the Packers are probably they could probably get 3 first round draft picks for Aaron Rodgers. Now, would I do it? Would I give up 3 first round draft picks for an older quarterback? Even though he's an MVP quarterback, would I do that and know that the next 3 years I changed the trajectory of my team and building my team? I would not. So I've never been an Aaron Rodgers fan because I don't like his attitude. I wouldn't want that in my locker room. That's just me. Now, if it's a 1 first round, 1 first rounder, I do it. Even though I don't like his attitude, that man, that talent for 1 first round draft pick, I'd do it in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even think. I'd just call and be like, done. It's done. You have it. Take it. Give it to me. That's how that call would go. But for 3, I don't know because we can't build a fact that, oh, well, Brady stayed healthy and he's playing late into his 40s. Oh, Brett Favre he played into his 40s. Just because there's been a handful of recent quarterbacks that played into their 40s, Drew Brees, doesn't mean that every quarterback can play into their 40s. Doesn't mean every single Hall of Fame quarterback can play that long. Just because a handful does it, doesn't mean they can't. Go back through the history of the NFL. It didn't happen for a very long time. It just was not normal for a very, very long time in the league. But they probably can do it because the NFL's gotten soft on quarterbacks. It's gotten soft every year, it seems like, on quarterbacks for the last decade. So that definitely is why I think these quarterbacks playing into their 40s the way they are. So do I think Aaron Rodgers can't? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not saying that he can't do what a Peyton Manning or a Brett Favre or a Tom Brady or Drew Brees. Because he can. And I really, truly believe he can at a high level. But can he play like he did last year 3 years from now? That is the question. Because if not, then I don't know. Eventually, your arm strength and stuff like that, eventually injuries catch up with you as you get older, especially in a contact sport like the NFL. So I'm not going to be the one that makes mistakes like other people. You know how they were saying, "Oh, Tom Brady's he's hitting the bridge, he's declining." I'm not going to be one of those idiots. With Aaron Rodgers, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to say when he's going to start declining, but eventually it's going to come. So I think they'll get 3 first-round draft picks, but I just wouldn't do it. You know, I'd weigh my options first. I weigh what's out there. I would weigh, what kind of quarterbacks are coming out, um, and kind of go from there. Um, like I said, it's a win-win for the Packers organization, not necessarily Aaron Rodgers, because he has no say where he's going. He ain't got to say. Packers pull the trigger on trading him. Aaron Rodgers, you need to realize that you could go from a solidly good Packers team to the very worst team in the NFL if the Packers want to do it. So the reason why I say the Packers organization is they win-win. It's a win-win for them. It's a win if Aaron Rodgers comes back and it doesn't get traded. Because obviously, as good as he is, everybody knows how good he is. And Jordan Love gets to watch and learn from Aaron Rodgers, a future Hall of Famer, which is still a win. Or they trade him away, they gain a shit ton of draft capital and or players as well, and build around a quarterback they drafted in the first round, and they get to find out what they got in this young quarterback, Jordan Love, on a rookie contract. On a rookie contract. And if he is good, they got a boatload of first rounders for next 2, 3, several years. They can build around this young quarterback and build up this Green Bay roster into a future juggernaut, a potential future juggernaut. It is a complete win-win for the front office. Either way, win-win. So, in my opinion, what I would do with the Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay situation is this. Look, if you trade up and you have an MVP and a future Hall of Famer like Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, and in a draft, you trade up to get a quarterback in the first round that you really, truly like, you obviously think something about this quarterback if you're going to do it with Aaron Rodgers on your roster. Now, if you think you made the right call, Green Bay, in your decision, then pull the trigger. Make the trade. As insane as that would be, and as much a lot of especially Green Bay Packer fans, they will be attacking you once you do it. They will be calling for your heads, your jobs, everything. You got to do it. Take that chance, and then build that team around that young quarterback, and go on with your future, and live with the decision that you as an organization made. Just like everything, look, all of us people in our life, we live or die by the sword on a lot of things. You got to take risks. And I feel with Aaron Rodgers' age, and with all due respect to Aaron Rodgers and his talent, like I said, yes, I don't necessarily like him as a quarterback because more of his attitude and stuff like that. And I just think he blames everybody but himself. But also, he's an amazing, one of the greatest regular season quarterbacks in the league, bar none. Not taking. I had to give him credit where credit's due. There, he is. But let's go look at the NFC Championship game record Let's go look at his playoff record. Let's go look at his playoff record since he won a Super Bowl. His only Super Bowl in Green Bay. Thank you. And tell me that is the same as regular season Aaron Rodgers. Because it's not. I would pull the trigger. I would go ahead and trade Aaron Rodgers, and I would ask for three firsts. I'd even ask, for maybe some second and third rounders, maybe a one or two players, and I would call it a day. Because you can get that with the MVP at quarterback. With the MVP quarterback, you can ask for damn near anything. And if a team truly, really wants it, and if they feel like they're one quarterback away from a Super Bowl, they're going to take that chance and they'll pull the trigger as well. If they're in win now mode, they'll pull the trigger. And like I said, Denver has a good defense. They are a quarterback away because they have awful quarterback play. And they have a solid offense receiving core, solid offense. They just have no capable quarterback. If anybody thinks Trevor Siemian is an awesome quarterback, please go look because he's in the bottom 3 in the league. QBR, all quarterback stats, he's in the bottom 3. You ain't going to no Super Bowl with a team like that. You have to have one of the best all-time defenses. And I will say this, I'll give you an example. It has happened, but it's because this defense was one of the greatest of all time. Is the reason why they won a Super Bowl. And that's the Baltimore Ravens of 2000 with Trent Dilfer. He was not at all good quarterback, really. But he had a Hall of Fame caliber defense backing him up. Denver ain't got that. They ain't got the Legion of Boom, Seattle. But they have a pretty good defense. So I think that it'll eventually happen. I think it'll happen prior to week 1. Like I said, I just don't know when it's going to happen, but I feel we are in June, getting close to July. I think August is whenever we hear, by August, Aaron Rodgers getting traded to Denver. Now, if I'm right, come back to this video and remind me that I called that shit. Because I just firmly believe Denver is in the driver's seat for Aaron Rodgers. Strongly, firmly believe. Even though they upgraded their defense even more because they took who I wanted us to get, my Cowboys. I wanted Patrick Surtain. Whenever the other corners got taken before him, I was hoping, okay, we can at least get a good corner. No, we didn't, but we did. Hey, I'm not going to complain because Parsons is I like that Penn State linebacker too that we got. I'm not fully complaining there, but yes, I do think that's where he's going, and I think Watson doesn't play it down this whole season. And then next year, depending on the outcome or whatever, if he's found guilty of this stuff, probably getting banned for life from the NFL. And rightfully so. If the NFL and they find like flat out, dude, it's obvious evidence that he did it, he'll be out of the league. I mean, we all saw what happened to Ray Rice. Dude, I mean, we saw what happened to people that, do some serious crimes to women lately. And if it's like adamant, it's obvious, point blank evidence. Some of them has never even stepped foot back in the league. So I'm not even going to sit here and say he'll play next year because, yeah, there's a chance this could be his career. I just don't know. Hopefully it's not, and hopefully this stuff didn't happen because that would be pretty bad. But I will say, if this did happen and Deshaun Watson did do the things he's being accused of, look, no offense, being kicked out of the NFL should be the least of your worries, and you should earn that. You should earn a lifetime ban. If you are found, if there is hardcore evidence that you did do this shit, but first hardcore evidence that he did do what he's being accused of, then like us normal civilians out here that could not, that ain't rich, would never get away with stuff like that. Better get a jail. You better get a prison sentence. Just saying. Better get some jail time too. I mean, if Michael Vick gets sent to prison for dogs, these crazy attacks on these women, if you did it, you better get some serious time. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, thank you all for tuning in today's episode. Please go check last previous videos. I got a lot of good videos. Also, if you are a gamer, I also have a Twitch account. It's under the same name, Rocky Sports Talk Sheet, all one word, all lowercase on Twitch. You can add me on there. Follow me on there, please. I have a ton of gaming videos. I started there a little less than a month ago on Twitch. So anytime I game now, I'm streaming. Also, you can catch me on Twitter at Rocky Sports, ROCKEY Sports. And obviously, if you like this, please like and subscribe to the channel. You're welcome to put comments and stuff like that. Thank you all for your support. Till the next episode, I will be on tomorrow with the outcome of Game 7 tonight. I'm getting ready to leave for work here, so it will be probably. I mean, I work 12-hour shifts, so maybe 5 in the morning. I will have a updated video, or I'll be live saying what happened in Game 7 last night. So look out for that. Anyways, thank you all so much for tuning in. Appreciate everybody. Hope you all have a good day and the rest of your all's weekend. But I got to get ready for work. Hopefully y'all enjoyed yourself in this video. Till next time, everybody. Peace out.